I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do this anyway. The fight is the easiest part of the whole thing. People will doubt you and tell you you can't. Well, screw them. You should do whatever makes you happy and don't let anybody tell you you can't. You know, bringing a message, a positive message.
I believe that we are who we choose to be. Nobody is going to come and save you. You've got to save yourself. Nobody is going to give you anything. You've got to go out and fight for it. Nobody knows what you want except you, and nobody will be as sorry for you as you will be if you don't get it. So don't give up and chase your dreams. You only live once. Germaine, I want to ask you if this quote is familiar to you.
Yeah, it's very familiar to me.
Yeah?
I just wanted to say amen. I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, nothing in life is for free. And I believe we never should take anything for granted in life. You know, you got to work hard for everything you want, for all the dreams you have. And yeah, just go after them. Absolutely.
This was actually a quote that you posted yourself on the 24th of November in 2003 on Twitter. It was a screenshot from your notes that you wrote yourself, I suppose. And usually I start with an extract from a book, which is in this case The Alchemist. And I thought it was just beautiful that the message that you showed in that note came really close to The Alchemist, because it's basically that you have to chase your dreams. It's about a guy that goes to Egypt, if I remember correctly, and he goes there because he wants to find a sort of treasure, and he realizes that he has to do it on his own, and he has to do it because he has a dream. And I think you've been a big advocate for that you have to chase it, and even if all the odds are against you, you have to continue. And personally, I want to thank you for that. It's really inspiring. I did my homework, I listened to a lot of your podcasts, and it's just beautiful the way you speak. So I'm really, really honored to have you on the podcast today. I'm really excited to just have this talk, and this is a present for you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so
You're
cool.
welcome.
That is so cool. I've read it already, but I always say this is a beautiful book, because no matter in what time in life you are and you read this book, or if you're just in a down period of your life and you read this book, and you'll be like, okay, maybe I do gotta fight for it. It will inspire people. It did inspire me, and it gave me a different look sometimes.
That's beautiful, and I'm sure you can give it on someone else that might be able to use it.
Well, I'm not
case.
going to give it to somebody else. Maybe
Okay.
if I think if somebody's in need to read a good book, I will pass it on.
That's perfect.
I definitely will do that.
That's perfect. I want to ask you if you can put your mic a little bit closer to your mouth.
Course.
That would be perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll do the standard intro. Hey guys, how's everyone doing? We're doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. And today we're here with a new episode of The Success Show. And today we're joined by Germaine the Randamie, as you guys heard in the pre-intro. She is a martial art expert. She has fought uncountable amount of kickbox fights, and she's still unbeaten, which is incredible. She fights in UFC. She's the first female Dutch champion in there, and so much more that we'll cover in this podcast. So it's a very, very big honor to have you on today, and I'm just really excited. I think you can see it. So yeah, thank you for making time.
Thank you for having me.
And I'd like to start by asking, what are some daily habits that you have that people might not know about? Just some small things, some small details, because the devil's always in the details, I believe, that have brought you to where you are now. Before you continue watching, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you never miss a future upload.
I think the major detail of my life, when I wake up every morning, I start with a positive quote. You know, I always every day, and that's also what I tell my students, you know, no matter how, sometimes we wake up, you know, everybody can be grumpy or go through a bad time or a period of bad times, or just go through a good time, you know. And I always start off the day and be friendly to myself, you know, no matter how sucked the day can be or how great the day can be. I always start my day with a smile in the mirror at myself. And, you know, today's going to be another beautiful day, because I'm blessed that I got to wake up this morning. Because I don't take anything for granted, you know. In life, I've seen people come, I've seen people go. And waking up healthy every day is, you know, it's a blessing. And every day I'm thankful that I got another day.
And when you wake up, is there like a specific routine, like where you wake up and you tell that to yourself in the mirror, or you just wake up from your bed and you say that?
No, I just wake up, get out of bed, and when I just go to the shower, take a shower, then I always do my hand, and I'm like, okay, today is a beautiful day. Let's kick some ass today.
Awesome, awesome. And your daily life, how does it look like? Because we know you're a fighter, but you also have a lot of other things that you do on the side.
I like to be busy. I'm a very busy person. So I wake up I wake up, then go have a nice walk with my dog, my king. I love him very much. Then I take my breakfast, or I go to the gym and go work out, or I go to work. And if I go to work early in the morning, then I come home and I have dinner, walk the dog again, and do some things in the household, then go to the gym and work out. Or I always go to my mom. I have to see her every day. She's my best friend, absolutely. So every day I visit her. Or sometimes when I come out of work, she made me dinner, and so I go and pick up food, or we eat together, and then I go work out, and be home after that, and just enjoy the night and read a book before I go to sleep. Just even if it's just a few pages, read something and then go to sleep. Or when I wake up, I go to the gym and then come back from the gym and go back to work.
What's the last book you've read, if I may ask? Or that you're reading currently?
The Perfect Murder.
What
I
is
like
it about?
thrillers. It's about a serial killer, and he commits the perfect murder. They just can't find him. It's a very interesting book.
Kind of like you in the ring when you step into the octagon and you have one goal, and it's to fight.
Yes, but going past the time, when I start to get older, my goal when I step in the cage is different.
Okay.
I mean, the goal is still to win the fight, of course. But the most important goal for me right now, when I step in that octagon, of course, is to win the fight. I'm not stepping in there to lose a fight. But the most important thing for me is to enjoy the journey. Because I've learned throughout my career that, you come to different places in the world. I get the privilege to see different places in the world, to meet different people, to meet different cultures. And, it's such a waste of time when you're there and meeting so many great people, different cultures, to not enjoy it, to not embrace it. So for me, the journey and enjoying the journey, enjoying that journey and that time is way more important than the result of the fight. Of course, I'm stepping in there to win and put up a great performance. I mean, that's always the goal, I'm not stepping in there to get my ass busted. But the most important thing for me right now is that journey I'm making, that journey, that walk to that cage, that journey meeting the fans, having those interviews, sightseeing, and exploring the city where you're in, the cultures you meet, the different people you meet. That right now, that's the different goal than when I was younger, when I was in my fighting career.
And when you were younger, how would you describe the goal that you had?
Becoming the best. And still, I want to be the best. Don't get me wrong in that sense of way. Of course, you always have that ego. I want to be the best, and I want to show the world I am the best. But it was more like a tunnel vision I had then. It was 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Well, it was 365 days a year. Focus, 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 focus. And it's still focus, focus, focus. But I don't forget to enjoy it. And I used to not enjoy it as much as I do now. Now when I go into fight week, people will be like, oh, I hate this so much. I got to cut weight and this sucks. I cannot eat. And I really enjoy it. I get to meet so many different people. I get to go to different cities, meet different people, meet fans, talk to people. You have an interaction with different people. Because in the end of the day, you got two kind of people. I'm the one that's doing it, and you got the fans. But we all have one thing in common. We all love fighting. We all love the same sport. You got the spectators and you got the people that do it. So you got so much in common with the people you meet there. Even though you're so differently. Normally you would walk past each other in the street. And now you get to meet each other. How cool is that? And that is something I didn't realize when I was younger, going into my fighting career. The only thing what I had on my mind was I want to be I have to be the number one. I want to win that belt. And now it's like, I see so much more, which makes it so much more beautiful.
Has it given you more peace to focus more on the journey than the results?
Hell yeah, absolutely. It gives so much more peace because I really know that there are certain things in life I can't control. I can't control the outcome of the fight. I can't control the result. The only thing I can control is being as prepared as I can be for the fight. The only thing I can control is how I react in certain situations. Is it physically? Is it mentally? I can control my own thoughts and how I'm going to respond on those things. But I cannot control you. I cannot control my opponent. You can try to control your opponent, but you can't. They control their own minds. And knowing that the only thing I can control is the things I can control, not the other things, gives me so much more peace. Because it's out of my hands. The only thing I can control is how I'm going to react on the situation, in that situation, on that very moment. And nobody can take that away from me. So it gives me peace and makes me more calm. Because I know when I step in there, in that octagon, I know I gave it my all. I know, not literally, because there are people at home waiting for me. I am ready to die. Because I gave it my all. I am ready to fight a war. Because I gave it my all. And what the result will be, it's out of my hands. I'm going to give it my all. That's all I can control.
Yeah. Have you by any chance read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius? It is one of those books with where Stoicism is really the emphasis is on Stoicism, and that's one of the mindsets that back then they also had. It was just basically focus on what you can control, and the rest is in the hands of God. This is what they would say, or it's in the hands of whatever higher power you believe in. And also for those great leaders, he was the emperor of Rome, and it's also what they would have brought them to such heights. And I think it's also about a long-term vision, right? I'm sure if you would just focus on one fight and you focus for really hard on just winning, you might win that fight. But if you want to do it for a long time, you actually enjoy doing it, I think it brings you, as you said, more peace.
But you can still focus on winning, but it doesn't mean you're going to win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there are so many factors around you and around your opponent that decide the outcome of the fight. So that's why you, on long term, in controlling your own mind, your own thoughts, your own reaction, your own behavior, has more jeopardy than right now. I mean, if you're doing a podcast or somebody is trying to go for a job, of course, you prepare yourself, you have that interview for that job you wanted your whole life. Yeah, you've been prepared. You got the right papers, you got the right education, you got everything in place. You're ready for that conversation. But it's out of your control after that. Of course you want the job. But you're going to be prepared at the best you can be. But they decided if you're the person they want, not you. They decide. That's out of your control. But being prepared and controlling all the things you can control makes it that you can be at peace, I believe, eventually. And indeed, it's the higher power, God, whatever works for a person that decided this is your moment, this is your time. And I believe also, if you're really prepared, and you're prepared the best you can, you also can a little bit control the outcome. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And you also, you mentioned your mom briefly, so family. I'm sure there are certain situations where something happens and the outcome didn't go the way you wanted. And we've seen that you can get a lot of hate, for example, after such a situation. Is family then one of the things that have your back in a way?
Hell yeah. Well, I sure hope so.
Yeah.
I always say surround yourself with people with the same vision as you. And like in everything, I think in everything in life, there's always people that cheer you on, and there's always people that are not on your side. But there's only a few that you truly need, that understand you and make you grounded at all times. Because you see people change during a career. Is it a fighting career or in life in general, that they become successful, they make a lot of money, they change. Sometimes people change. And in ups and downs, you need a few people around you that always stick by your side, that will tell you the good and the bad. Because it's normal to sometimes in one way or another lose it. Not in a bad way. I don't mean it in a bad way or being a bad influence. But it's possible that you lose it sometimes, or you be like, or when something bad happens, you'll be like, okay, this really sucks, this hurt. And you need people to catch you when you fall. We all need that. We all need somebody to catch us when we fall, because we can all fall. And we all need that somebody just to put their arms around you and tell you it's going to be okay. Everybody needs that. Not everybody always have it, but we should all have it.
For the people in your network, are you one of the people that people can fall back on if they have a hard time?
I sure hope they believe they can. I absolutely hope so. Absolutely hope so. And that's the person I want to be. I want to be the person that you come to when life kicks you hard, or something in life kicks you hard. Yes, I want to be that person. I hope I can be, and I want to be that person that puts that arm around you and tell you it's going to be okay. Even though maybe it's not going to be okay. And the situation just sucks. But we all need somebody to talk to, somebody that believes in us, somebody that's there for us. Yeah, I want to be that person. Yeah, and I believe definitely for some people I am that. I can be that person, and maybe sometimes in life I will be that person, or I am that person. Yeah, absolutely.
That brings us to your job, or your former job as a therapist, because that is basically just helping people, right? Or speaking to people. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, I was a psychiatric nurse it was an emergency for children with a psychiatric issue. Let me call it like that for a second. I was very young when I started working there. That work made me a different fighter, made me a different person, because it gave me a totally different vision of life. Mental health is something, you see it coming more often, and especially nowadays that after the corona, you see a lot of suicides. People get burnout, get depressed, and I think a lot of people underestimate what can go on in somebody's mind. Somebody can look physically healthy, but in their mind, they could be very sick at sometimes. It really, really gave me a different perspective of life, because it's made me realize, working with those children, that being healthy, physically or mentally, is not for granted. You cannot take it for granted. It can happen to each and every one of us. I've seen kids from different layers in society. It doesn't matter where you come from. Adults also. It doesn't matter where you come from, where you're born, who you are, where you're raised. It can happen to all of us. It hits you. It hits you like a rock. It's there, boom. And you can do nothing about it. It gives me a different perspective in a positive way, because it made me realize that life is so much more than what we sometimes see on the surface. And I realized that too, and I'm guilty of it too sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I believe we're all guilty of it. But we take things sometimes in life very, very much for granted. Things that aren't always for granted, and it helped me so much in my fighting career. And it matured me so much to have a different look, to enjoy differently, to look at fighting differently, because you start to learn more about different psychological issues, diseases that come around. And it made me realize that, oh wow, I have been looking at this all wrong. And in fighting, fighting is a very, very vulnerable sport. If a lot of fighters, it's a very male-dominant world, or a lot of people think you got to be a real ego, you got to be a real alpha person to do this. But fighting, I've seen big men, big gentlemen, big champions being such great fighters in that ring. But behind in the locker room, they're this small. Because it makes you so vulnerable, and it touches your soul so deep, and you have to reach into your soul so deeply. I don't believe any other sport can do that to a human being. And that's what makes it so beautiful. I believe that. That's why I call it always beautiful violence, because it's not the violence we always see and we always think about. You know what I'm saying? It goes so much deeper, because you got to really, really open up yourself if you really want to be the best. You got to open up your feelings. And I believe, these days you see a lot of people, and also men, men cannot cry. Why can men not cry? Or men always have to be strong, right? No, you don't always have to be strong. And that's what you see in a locker room. That fighter that walks out of that tunnel is not the same man that was 15 minutes early in that dressing room. I can tell you, it's not the same person that walks out there. It's a different person. Absolutely different person. Because he had to dig deep in his soul, very deep, to find that strength to walk out of there. Because it's a scary thing to walk out of there. I can tell you that. It's freaking scary. And to tell himself, I can do this. I can do this. Because there is doubt. Everybody has doubt for a second. Nobody wants to get their ass beat up in front of a million people. Millions of people are watching around the world. Nobody wants that, right? But you got to touch something deep inside you that says, I'm going to do this. That is an emotional roller coaster that not a lot of people... It's hard to handle at times. It's absolutely hard to handle. And it just gave me a different look of on life. And even still today, when even with my current job, or even when I step in the cage and something happens, I can stay calm. I've seen so many things in my work. I stay calm. I can stay very calm. I can stay calm and then take control of the situation, take a step back, breathe in, breathe out, and get in there again. It gave me a lot of tools, but it matured me also a lot in a very, very short time. But at the same time, I realized that that's the job I want to do. That's what I want to do. Eventually, I want to get back to that. I want to help people. I want to help people to find the tools in life, the positive tools in life, to go after whatever they want, even if it's just a smile for a day, just to be happy for a day. That's what I want to do. I want to give people back. I want to give them the tools to face life and enjoy and get the best out of life.
You started by speaking about children that you helped. For people that are watching this and perhaps are dealing with something that they do not feel comfortable talking about to people, or perhaps they've told someone but they've not really gotten the help, because it's also hard to help. I think like you can listen, but sometimes it's hard to give a helping hand. Is there any advice that you could give to younger people or even older people that are watching this that are dealing with something hard in their life?
Yeah, my advice would still be, find somebody to talk to. There are people that want to listen. Absolutely, there are definitely people that want to listen. And sometimes there may be moments you feel so alone, so lonely, and there's nobody around you, nobody that understands you. And at points, people won't understand because they don't feel what you feel. They can try to imagine, but they don't. It's your feeling, But still, try to talk to somebody, because there are people that want to help you. There are people that love you and will be there for you in the hard times and in the good times. So just talk. Talk to somebody. And remember, you're not alone. You're not the only one in this world feeling like this. Those are your feelings, but there are more people. And there are people that want to help you. So just talk. Find somebody to talk to.
And for the people, maybe a bit like not a usual question, but for the people that want to help, imagine like someone comes with a problem and like they don't really feel, they don't know what to do. what would be a good way to help? Would just listening would already make a big difference, I imagine.
Yeah,
right?
I believe so. I believe just listening to a person, and don't always. I believe listening is the most important thing, of course, and we don't always have the solution for everything. You know, I know you want to find a solution because in your heart you want to help that person, but the solution is not always right, just right then and there, or we just don't have the solution right now. But just listen, be there for somebody, be that arm around the person, you know, be that person they can talk to. It's not about you, it's about them. Make sure that they got a feeling it's about them, not about you.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think it's really, also for myself, I like these interviews, I do them because it's nice to share with other people, but just learn so much from this. And sometimes like, I've had, for example, friends that have issues, and I definitely want to help. I want like to see change happen. But things don't happen overnight. But then they just tell you, yeah, just listening made such a big difference in my situation, because they sometimes, like as you said, people can feel really alone. I think that's really useful advice. And
I hope it helps somebody, and at least somebody might, you know, talk to somebody, be like, okay, let's give it another try. I'm going to talk to somebody, or I'm just going to listen to the person. Let's hope.
Let's hope so, indeed. And you talked about the switch that people have to make from inside the locker room to in the cage, right? You think that side, like it's a different side, right? Like I think you use different functions in your brain. Like everything changes because you have to go from someone that's calm to actually kind of like a gladiator. You're stepping in the ring, and one of the two people will step out of the ring victorious. You think that's a side that everyone has if they dig deep enough?
In a way, I believe yes. In a way, I believe yes, but not always in a fighting way, you know. But I believe yes. Take a look at evolution. We get older and older and older. You know, I mean, 200 years ago, we died maybe at 20, 25 years old. You know, we get older and older, so we're survivors. You know, so absolutely yes. I believe yes, absolutely. But honestly, I'm just being honest. Fighting is not for everybody, and that's okay. You don't always have to fight that battle by physically fighting, you know? So, but yeah, I definitely believe, yeah, that's human nature. That's how we survive. That's how we evolve. Yeah. If we dig deep, very deep, there's a lion somewhere inside all of us.
And digging, if we put that into practical words, would that just be doing hard things? Because I suppose like hard situations make your brain, you have to be able to like react fast. You can't always plan everything out. Is doing hard things one of the elements to make your brain like switch to like the stage 2?
I don't know. I don't know if it's always doing the hard things, you know. I think it's the situation that will make you trigger that hard thing. Because just like you said, you do not always, you know, prepare yourself for this, and then shit happens sometimes, you know. And then sometimes you just got to dig deep and be like, okay, I got to deal with this, so I'm going to deal with this one way or another. And that's life. That's the lesson we get every day, over and over and over. I believe every day again. So you're never prepared for the hard times. But when it's necessary, you will do it. And it will get you through. And it's never going to be an easy way. That's why it's a hard time, and it sucks. But, you know, and there are moments I probably believe everybody would have, please God, I don't know what to do. I don't know it anymore. But there will always be an answer. If it's the right answer for you, I don't know, or for anybody, I don't know. You know, but there will be a solution. I absolutely believe, you know, I'm a very positive person because I absolutely believe, and I always think in solutions, not in problems. If there is a problem, I'm going to think, what can I do to fix this problem? And sometimes I don't have the answer. I just don't know what to do. I honestly am like, okay, me too. I don't know. But I still try, and then sometimes I leave it at it. You know, it is what it is. It sucks, you know. I feel shitty, and then, bum, all of a sudden something happens. And I'm like, or somebody be like, yep. This is what I'm going to do. And believe it's a higher power or it's meant to be or whatever. But that it triggers something in the brain, and then it will come out. It definitely will come out. But in fighting, you just got to activate it on the moment you got to go. You know, and you activate it already like 10 weeks before the fight, because you're going to prepare for that war. Your brain, your body, you're getting into that mode. And when it's time to go, you go, because you've been preparing. Unlike other situations in life that it's just there. You just got to deal with it. You know, we prepare ourselves for that one moment. And no matter how scary it is, and every time when I walk out, honestly, you can ask my coaches. Every time when I'm about to walk out, I look at them and I'm like, shit, I really don't want to do this. I got over 60 pro fights. Every fight I tell them, I don't want to do this shit. I really don't want to do this. Why am I doing this? This is the last time that I'm doing this. My last 2 fights, I didn't say it though. Because I told myself not to say it anymore. I'm like, no, you're not going to say this anymore because you're going to do it again. So just suck it up, you know. But every time I look, oh, there's the emergency exit. I should walk there. But they want me to walk there. I'm like, oh, I should walk there. I don't want to do this. But I'm going to do this anyway. I have the option to walk to the emergency exit. I have that option. But my brain is ready to go because my mind has been training for 23 years for this moment. So I get my ass there. Let's go and do this. It's out of my control now. I've done everything I could. Let's go. The brain is it's a very special weapon.
Do you think the hardest part of fighting is the actual physical fight itself, or is it the mental warfare that you have?
The fight is the easiest part of the whole thing. It's the easiest, the journey, the weeks of preparation, the physical pain, the mental struggles you go through. Because you always hit that point in your training camp. You'll be like, well, most of the fighters then. There are some fighters that will say, no, I don't have that. I don't believe that. But okay. We all have that moment that we're like, what if I get hit and she knocks or he knocks me out? Or what if I'm not prepared well enough? What if I didn't run that extra mile? What if I didn't do it? What if this happens? What if I wear the wrong socks on that day? It's out of my control. But you always hit that point in that training camp where you doubt yourself. And then you look at the videotape of your opponent and you only see the good things. You don't see the weak spots. You only see the good things they do. We all hit that spot in that training camp. You know, you're physically pain, you're tired because you got to go over to that gym again. Again, take a beating. Again, be exhausted. You know, again, you have to throw that jab cross. Again, you have to kick. Again, you have to sprawl. You know, while your body is telling you, I'm done with this. I'm tired. I'm hurt. And still you got to find that knot in your brain and on somewhere and you push it and be like, I keep going. This is what I want. I keep going. That's the hardest part. I always tell everybody, fighting is 75% mentally, 25% physically. Because if you look at, for example, special forces, you know, their training is so heavy. It's insane what these guys do. Your body can handle so much more than we think your body can handle. It's the brain that abandons you. It's not the body. It's your brain. Your thoughts, I cannot do this anymore. I give up. I just don't want to do this. To control that thought, for all that time you prepare yourself to go to war, that's the hardest battle. Physically, the fight night, easy peasy. That's what I always tell people. People judge what they see on TV, right? Oh, you suck. You should have thrown more leg kicks. You should have shooted. You should have sprawled. Yeah. I know I should have. And if I could, I know. I'm my own worst critic. You know, I know what I should have done. But at the journey that before what you just saw on TV, that's way heavier. The fights you get with your girlfriend or boyfriend, the argument you get with your mom. You have to diet. You want to go, all your friends go to McDonald's and you cannot go to McDonald's. You never eat McDonald's, but then all of a sudden, you want to have McDonald's. Seriously? Right? It's that struggle that is so much heavier than the fight. It's easy peasy, seriously. The fight is easy. And then, because this is the same thing. No matter the outcome of the fight, you step out of that cage or ring, and you know what the first thing is you said? Is that all? Did I worry myself so much about this? Seriously? Was I in stress for this? Yeah, that's it.
And when it comes to the mental, like obviously if you made a little equation that is 25-75, I would imagine that you also have some kind of mental training. Is that just being positive is one of the things, and accepting that not everything is in your control is also, and that's easily said, but a lot of work goes into that. Is there something that you actively do to train your mental?
I talk.
You talk.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest with my coaches. Today I don't feel it. I doubt myself. I don't think I can do this. Being open and honest. They need to know what I'm going through at moments. That's why I'm telling you, a fighter has to open up to be very vulnerable. I have to tell them what goes through my mind, how I feel. And I used to, when I was younger, I didn't do that. And that's what I've also learned being a psychiatric nurse, is being open. Talk to people about it. I always thought, my mindset was, I got to be strong. I don't cry, I got to suck it up. I got to go, go, go. But now I realize, no, yes, I got to go, of course. But I can still be honest and open how I feel. There's nothing wrong with telling somebody I'm scared. Why? It is scary. I can tell somebody I'm scared. I don't care. I don't care what you think of me. It is scary. And why should I be ashamed of telling my coaches that I'm scared? I'm scared to death. I don't want to lose. That's okay. But then they know. They can help me. They understand how I'm feeling. They understand why I'm grumpy. Why I'm fighting everything and nothing works out. Because I'm fighting my own battle. I'm fighting with my own demons at that moment. I cannot learn and observe anything because I'm just battling the thoughts. I'm scared. I cannot do this. But if I tell them, and I'm being open and honest with them, they know what goes through my mind. And then they can be there for me. So being vulnerable and telling them what I'm going through and how much my day sucks, or I just had an argument, with my mom, or the weight doesn't come off the way I want it, or whatever. It can be anything, just be honest. And that helps me a lot. And I think that's the first step mentally to get yourself ready. Just be honest. Tell people what you feel, and then they can help you. If you tell everybody, I'm doing good, I'm doing great, there's nothing wrong with me, and all of a sudden you're sitting in that locker room and you're like, I'm scared, I don't want to do this, or I'm not going to fight. But you're the guy that tells everybody you're doing so great, and you're feeling so great, you're unstoppable, and now you're scared. People don't get it. How can we help you? This is not the time that we can help you. You got to fight in a few minutes or whatever, right? But if you just tell me, don't be an ego. It's okay. Everybody is scared. Come on, this is a scary thing to do, and everything you got to do in life. And this has nothing to do with fighting. This is in general. For example, you're going to apply for a job you always wanted. It's scary. Because you want that job. You've been going to school. You've been doing anything in your life, everything, to get that job. It is scary to go to that interview. It's freaking scary. Hell yeah. Because you might get rejected. Yeah, it's scary. So tell people, I'm freaking scared. That is the mental part, first mental part. Acknowledging, I feel this. Or acknowledging I have a problem or not a problem. I mean, having a problem is such a big word, but I mean, I deal with this. So I have an object in front of me and I don't know how to deal with it. I need a little bit of help. And somebody be like, breathe. It's going to be okay. give me a hug. It's going to be okay. I got you. Oh, okay, I'm ready to go. That's it. That's it.
You think that's also what distinguishes good trainers from great trainers? Because obviously we see a lot of trainers that are super good at just like patsing and giving fight instructions. But if like the mental part takes so much, then the receiving end, which is the coach, also needs to be able to listen and speak and give you good advice. You think enough attention is given to that when it comes to trainers?
No. Honestly, you're so right. Everything which you just said, you're so right. I believe, honestly, we can still win a lot of ground in that area. And I mean, a great coach also, I honestly believe a great coach also coaches every fighter individually. In a way, I mean, you need a different approach than I need. So you can, and a lot of coaches be like, you gotta stay strong, you gotta scream or whatever. They don't look at the person. What do you need? And I think we can still win a lot of ground in that. And especially in fighting, because fighting is such a vulnerable sport, but then also a sport where there's so many alphas, where you need to be strong, you need to be tough, you know? And I think as a fighter and a coach, if they have that bond, that connection, that they're so open, success is on the horizon, no doubt. I honestly believe fighters can be so many percent better if there was more attention to that too. Absolutely.
Because I also noticed that, I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and a lot of fighters see mental health as a taboo, or they see it as a weakness. You mentioned it briefly, but for example, Germaine Sterling, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he mentioned, and Joe asked him if he had a mental coach, and he was like, "What, Joe, a mental coach? No, I'm not weak. My opponents need a mental coach." And Joe then explained him what the benefits are, and then he was like, "Oh, actually, that makes sense." So, like, is it actually a taboo still? You think in the fighting world with all the alphas, if we can call them like that?
In some way, maybe, yeah. But I do see a lot of fighters right now coming out and saying that mentally they found a mental coach that helps them through.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I believe in different sports, they evolve already a little bit more than they did in fighting. We're still a little bit behind because it's such an alpha sport. But that's why you saw in the past so many top athletes getting addicted to drugs, commit suicide, committed to alcohol abuse, gambling. You know, they live a kind of a standard where everything is about them, surrounding about them. But that mental part, that those guidelines, that guide that they need after their career and during their career wasn't there. And I believe, honestly, right now, it's more that people start using a mental coach because you need it. And it's not just fighting. It's also in general in life. We all need somebody sometimes to talk to, you know, or, you know, we all need that sometimes. And I believe, honestly, of course, I believe definitely it was a taboo in a sense of way because exactly, you need to be strong. You cannot cry. But I believe, honestly, that fighters now start to realize, okay, maybe I do need it a little bit more. It starts to get a little bit less. And coaches, still believe that coaches can, like I just said, can win more ground on it and also exploring what they can do differently to coach their fighters and help their fighters and tell their fighters it's okay. It's absolutely okay how you feel. It's okay. Yeah.
I'm always really interested in the mental aspect, and one of the ways I hear it's talking, as you mentioned, and that's also the way that you utilize the most. What do you think of meditation?
I started to do a little bit of meditation like a couple of years ago, more like the breathing exercises, you know, after when I'm in camp, for example, preparing myself for a fight, just to wind down at the end of the day, you know, just doing some breathing exercises, and it made me relax because the mind is so focused on that war you gotta go to, you know. Your mind is violent in some ways, you know, because you gotta get ready, you know, you gotta push through. Your body hurts, you gotta push at points, you know. At some points, negative it might sound, which I don't mean it in a negative way, but sometimes you just got to push through. You know, you got to suck it up and push through. There are points you have to do that. But since I started doing that, it's like I shut off my brain for a couple minutes or for a half an hour at the end of the day, and I shut my brain up and take time for myself to just come down and let the body wind down. For me, it helps. I don't know if it helps for other people. And now, you know, when it's a busy day at my job, or I've been very busy, I do it too, because I think it's just a moment of relaxing, realization, and letting the day soak in. So I like it. I don't do it frequently, but I do it at times, absolutely. In my training camps, I do it frequently. I try to do it every day. Just take my time, listen to some very calming music. But I also believe like meditating. I like to walk with my dog. I go to the forest, you know, just by myself in the dark. Just go to the ocean and just walk and listen to the sounds of the ocean and observe it, and seem like walking in the forest, listening to all the sounds you hear. I feel for me that's a way of meditating too. You know, everybody has to find their own way, I believe, in doing it, where you feel comfortable in it.
Nature is beautiful.
Yeah, I love nature. Absolutely, absolutely.
What's your favorite place to go to when you rewind? So you mentioned the forest, the beach.
You know, I believe, yeah, it's a hard one, because I really, really love the forest, especially when there's a creek. You know, you hear the water, but I love the ocean too. But I love the ocean in a way. I like surfing. I really love surfing. Yeah, I really love. I suck at it, but I love it. I really love it. So the ocean is a different way, and you know, and every time when I'm sitting just paddling on that surfboard, you know, I'm like, I respect the ocean so much, because I really think, you know, Mother Nature has different rules when I'm on the ocean. You know, it's just magnificent. But I have the same thing in the forest. You know, I'm really looking forward, because I really want to make a trip to Norway. Because they have in the fjords, you know, that's one on my bucket list. I really want to go there and just spend some time, just like almost backpacking, or with a camper, or just with a tent, you know, staying out there and outdoors and in the nature. That's on my bucket list. I really, really want to do that, because I just love the forest so much too. So, you know, I cannot make a decision, but I think if I have to make it right now, I go for the forest. Absolutely.
It's interesting, because you mentioned the sea. A lot of people say that good ideas come when you're under the shower. Yeah. And there was like a research done about that. I think it's all a little bit like, you know, a bit dreamy, but because you can't like put real facts to it. But because water is flowing, and they say that your thoughts are also flowing, when you're in presence of water, like your brain starts to like function even better. Do you also have that when you're in the water, that you feel that, you know, you're like?
Well, when I'm in the shower, I always pretend that I'm a singer, and I have a sold out arena. So I put the music on and I sing. My brain doesn't work that way. But for me, you know, if I hear it, for me, you know, the water is just relaxing. You know, it's a moment of peace. Like I said, it's just, yeah, I have no words for it. It's like, you know, Mother Nature is different on the ocean. The ocean is a different world. I believe, I honestly believe, and there are different rules there. So it's just, yeah, for me, it's just relaxing, peaceful, very peaceful.
And you mentioned your dog briefly. I believe that dogs are the purest, like, form of companion, because they're there. And I heard once, it was a comparison made by someone. He said, yeah, they did a research, and they saw that there was an elderly woman, and she died in her apartment, which is something that's really sad. And the same thing happened another moment. And the difference between the two situations was that there was a dog and there was a cat. And the dog would just stay there, and he would starve himself also with his owner that died then, obviously. And the cat would start eating the
owner.
Yeah, the owner to survive, which is also just animal instinct. But not to put bad light on cats, but it's really like, it's beautiful how dogs are so loyal. Do you like what do your dogs mean to you?
Oh, he means the world to me.
Yeah.
Seriously. I always tell people he's like, some people might think I'm crazy, but he's like my child. I'll go to war for him. Seriously. You have serious problems with me if you do something to my dog. Honestly, I'm a very peaceful person. I never argue with people or try not to argue with people or I'm very calm. I don't like to argue. I just don't like it. I never fight in the streets. I just don't like that kind of stuff. That's not me. But if it comes to my dog, there's a different situation. Do not touch my king. Honestly. And I know he would die for me. He would absolutely die for me. I know he would give his life for me. I know he would. He's my joy. Seriously, when I get home from work, and even if I have a shitty day, he's always happy to see me. He always comes running up to me. Hey, boss, you there? And I always ask him, how was your day, buddy? Did you have a good day? He's, oh, yeah. He's I love him so much. Honestly, I love him. I love him deeply.
Is it hard when you go, because you travel a lot for your job, I imagine, or when you used to travel a lot? Is it hard, when you're not with him?
The worst thing is, I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean this in a bad way to the people I really care about. When I travel, I really enjoy my time traveling, so I don't really miss a lot of things, to be honest. At moments, of course, you miss being surrounded by your loved ones, but if they go on a holiday or anything, I don't miss them because I'm happy for them that they get to do what they enjoy doing. So I'm genuinely happy. And some people are like, yeah, how can you not miss them? Because I genuinely am happy that they're doing something they love to do. So I really, support that. That's why I don't miss them, because I know they're in a happy place doing what they love to do. But my dog I miss. That's weird, huh? And I really don't mean this bad to the people I love, because I really love them and I cannot imagine life without them. But my dog I miss. Because he's, at times, especially in fight camp, honestly, at moments I'm like, you're the only one that understands me. If my day sucks, he's the one that has to listen. And it feels like he's always listening. And I know sometimes if he could talk, he would definitely tell me, just suck it up, bitch. Leave me alone. I just want to sleep. Or take me out playing. You know what I'm saying? I know, because that's the way, the look he gives me. I'm like, yeah, you're so right, but I could care less. Just take me out walking. So, but yeah, I do miss it. I miss him always a lot. Yeah, and if I go on a holiday. And honestly, I don't, sometimes people go for 2-3 weeks and bring their dog to a doggy hotel, or I just go for a week. I never go longer. And my mom always watches my dog, and she's amazing. I never bring him to somebody else. He's very attached to his house, and being home. So my mom comes to my house and watch my dog in my house, because that's how he likes it.
Yeah.
The prince. And yeah, no, asshole. I miss him always. Yeah.
It's beautiful to see you. You're always glowing when you speak. You're very positive, but when you speak about your dog, it's like even more.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I always tell him, you're gonna break my heart one day. I know that. You're gonna rip my heart apart. I'm not ready for that day, and you gotta stay with me forever and ever and ever. Sometimes I'm just playing around in my mind, and I'm like, if I was a vampire, I would bit you, because you would stay forever too.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I think we can learn a lot from animals as well. It's so pure the way they interact with other animals. Just small things like racism, for example.
Amen.
It's so stupid. Why? It's easy to talk about this, but there are some people that just don't think that way. And when you look at animals, there are probably tribes where there are some differences, but they treat each other as equals.
They all treat each other as equals, and they're loyal as fuck. Not as humans. They're loyal. It's not like, oh, today you're grumpy, I don't like you anymore. Or you make less money, so I don't like you. And you're less successful, so I don't like you. No, they love you for who you are. They don't care about your color, your race, who you wake up to, what you believe. They're They love you for who you are. I think we as humans should learn a lot from animals. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful, and some animals are just super smart as well. I mean, we can talk about your job a little bit. Like you work as a police officer. They have dogs there too, because at some things they're just better than us,
Yes, they
right?
are.
It's a far stretch, but like I just find it fascinating that animals are so like developed, and also the evolution, right? They went from this and then they go there, and then you have different species.
I also work as an animal police officer. So
Oh, no
yes,
way.
yes. And it's just because I love animals so much, and I think people should treat them with more respect, and not like always like just animals, because they also keep us alive in a way.
Yeah,
Not in a way like physically, but they all contribute to us evolving in around and round and round. So get older and So yeah, I'm also an animal cop. That's on the side of my general
yeah.
thinking. But yeah.
And just talking about your job quickly, could you tell us some more about that? I mean, we're all super interested, right? Because there was an interview in the USA where you mentioned that you were a cop, and people start applauding.
Yeah.
And here in Holland, it's like, oh, you're a cop, and you write fines. Like, why do you do that? Why would you do that to us?
Yeah, and I understand. In a way, I understand, because I've been pulled over by police officers, and I'm like, "You're such a dick." Honestly, I am. But being a police officer, I do that because I want to make a difference in different way of life. I live in this country. I'm born here. I'm raised here. I want to give something back. I want you to feel free. I want your mom, your sister, your children. I want my mom, my family, my friends, and the people I love also. I want them to feel safe and free. I think we live in a world where there's a lot of violence for a lot of bullshit reasons. I honestly believe we should love and respect each other way more than we do. But for me, it's important that people are safe and feel free where they live. And I just want to give something back. But I also want to make a difference, because I don't want to be that police officer people don't like. I want to be that police officer. And I believe I am that police officer that takes the time to listen to you. And I don't always I don't take it personally, I believe listening to a person when I get in a situation, because as a police officer, you come in every situation, you come in most of the situations. It's always when people are at their most vulnerable. Something just happened and the police comes. So it's never fun. I don't get invited for coffee. Hey, let's invite the police over for coffee. No, there's always something that's happening. So for me, it's very important to make people, for me, when I leave a situation, that I did everything I could to help the person at that moment, in that time, under the circumstances we are in at that moment, and that I listen to them. And I don't judge. That's the most important. I don't like to judge. I don't like to judge people. I don't like to judge the situation. Because sometimes people come into a situation and it's just the circumstances they are in at that moment in time. And they made a bad decision. It can happen to each and every one of us. That's life. But you cannot judge a person on that one choice they made, or that one bad step they made. Just go open and try to help them as good as you can. And if you get caught, you get caught. Shit happens. But for me, it's important to be different. Absolutely to be different. And the most important thing is, it's very cliche for a lot of people, but I honestly believe, and I want people to feel free, to feel safe and to feel free. And if I can contribute just a tiny bit, then I'm happy. Then I think I did my job.
It's beautiful. I think if everyone would do a tiny bit, we could get so far. And I think I also think most people have good intentions with that. I mean, also a lot of cops are put in bad daylight, especially in Holland, for maybe an experience you had in the past. But there's so many factors, right? Like something happened, you're in a bad mood, and there's so much. I think just giving appreciation to people like you who put yourself on the line, because it's not like you're putting your time, your safety, you're there thank you for being there for all of us. It's
Thank
beautiful,
you.
and for all the cops, all the people that are in a business where they're helping nurses. I'm gonna miss a lot of I'm not gonna start doing the
Yeah,
list
I
because I'm
got
gonna
you.
miss I'm gonna miss some sectors. But just everyone, you know who you are. Thank you for that.
Because I believe we all contribute. Everybody contributes to just a better place, where we all make it a little bit safer and all a little bit more freer. You know, if you just have a little bit of a more positive mindset, how can I make a difference? And I always say, start with yourself. What can you do yourself to make a difference? You know, and look a little bit more brighter. That's why I always start the day with a smile. You know, and just a positive spirit. Okay, today might be suck, but hey, gonna make the best out of it.
Is it heavy at times to be an officer? Because you're always in like very loaded situations, right? The tension is high, the emotions are really high as well. People are not always reasoning with logic. It's a lot of emotion, I can imagine, in high stress situations like that.
Yeah, it can be it can be tough, absolutely, because you see also a lot of things you don't want to see, a lot of things the brain is a hard disk, you know. You can remove it, but it will always stay on the hard disk somewhere. Yeah, in some situations you don't want to. Those sucks, you know. You don't want to tell a mother her child is not coming home. You know, that sucks, and it's a shitty day at work, but you can still try to do the best you can in a shitty situation, you know. And also with the job that I do, it's so important to talk to each other, with your colleagues, you know, the things we go through on daily basis, you know, and that's very important, because you gotta talk in the job we do and the things we sometimes see. Yeah, but I like I said, I'm not afraid to talk. I'm not afraid to open up to be vulnerable and to talk. If it's a shitty situation, it's a shitty situation. If it sucks to do, and it sucks, you know. And we all have moments in life, you know, when you be like, this was tough. Now I just need to take a step back. You know, because sometimes you just get emotionally involved in it. Not if you want it, but sometimes it just happens. And I believe that's with everything in life. But yeah, I still love what I do, because I do everything I do in my life, I do with my heart. But like I said, eventually my dream, of course, is to get back and help people in a different way. Absolutely.
Could you talk some more about that different way? Have you thought about that, or is it still?
And I'm thinking, of course, I always think about it, because when I start working as psychiatric nurse, and also in the sport, and the involvement you see in life, you know, I see so many times, too many times, that people just don't do whatever makes them happy. And I understand, because we live in a world where you have to go fast, you have to work hard, everything is so expensive, but it's so important to do what you love to do without harming anybody, you know. And I just want to, my ultimate goal in life is to help people to find that joy and that courage to go after their dreams, to do what makes them happy. And I hope that one day I am able to do that, you know, and make my job out of it, to help people find the tools in life, the right tools to do, and the courage to do whatever makes them happy. Because I honestly believe people do so many times I hear people, I don't like my job, I don't like doing this. We take it for granted. No, you don't always have to take it for granted. It's your choice, it's your life. You got to live it to your expectations, the way you want it. Those are your rules, without hurting people, of course. And there's always going to be people in life, always, that tell you you can't do it, or they doubt you, or you shouldn't do it. There's always going to be people that will do that. You just got to look them straight in the eyes and tell them, you know, watch me. Honestly, I've done that many, many, many times. Many, many times, you know. And I think people will be happier, because if you're doing what you love to do, you will show happiness, you will show strength, you show courage, you know, and that will motivate other people to do what they love to do. So if you're being positive and you glow, other people will start glowing. right? So we have to help each other to find our ways in life instead of taking it for granted. Yeah, I just got to do this because, it is what it is. No, it is not what it is. You make it what it is. It's your decision. You go after it, you know? And people will doubt you and tell you you can't. Well, screw them. Because there's also people that will tell you you can. And that stand behind you and believe in you. Those are the people you need. The ones that judge you and tell you you can't, those are negative people. You don't just put them on the side and be like, yeah, we're good, we're cool. But I don't need you in the moments that I really need you. You need the people that tell you you can do this. Go after it. Go for it. Because that will get you in life whatever you want. And I don't care what it is. If you just want to be whatever you want to be, then go and be whatever you want to be. As long as you don't harm people, you know. And there is always going to be people that are going to be disappointed. Hey, you cannot keep everybody satisfied in this life, unfortunately. I wish we could, you know, but hey, you're the writer of your own book. Go grab that pencil, that paper, and write it. It's your book. Because you don't, and that's why I honestly live, and I've also tattooed it, die with memories, not dreams. I honestly believe that you should do whatever makes you happy and don't let anybody tell you you can't, you know, and live your dreams. Because you don't want to live, and then later on, when it's time for you to move on, to pass on to paradise or wherever, living with regrets. Or getting sick and thinking, oh, now I want to do it. No, the time is now, today. Tomorrow when you wake up, you tell yourself, screw it, I'm going to do this. Because the time is now, not tomorrow, now. Not yesterday. Yesterday is time we don't get back. We live now. Go get it. That's what you want, go get it. I honestly believe that.
It's very valuable advice. And this advice, when you were younger, did you have someone that was installing that in you and was telling this to you, or did you all find that out along the way?
My mom, she always told me, you know, go after your dreams. Go after your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. Don't let him. It's going to be hard. You know, you're going to cry at moments. You're going to have to fight your way through it. Like blood, sweat, and tears, you got to fight your way through it. And there's always going to be people that tell you you can't. But don't let anybody tell you you can't. Because if you believe, you can do anything you want. And that's what I tell. If I teach the children, I'll tell them, you can do whatever you want. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Go after it. If you believe you can be a professional soccer player, you got to train. You got to train your ass off. If you wake up, you got to kick the ball. If you go to sleep, you got to kick the ball. But you can do it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't.
Are there specific situations where people doubted you a lot and where you even started to doubt yourself? In your career?
In my career? Yeah. I remember that one time. Yeah. So I had my kickboxing career and I was undefeated. I'm still undefeated as a kickboxer, and
which is incredible, by the way.
Thank you. I'm a real kickboxer. MMA is cool, but my first love is absolutely kickboxing. A lot of people don't know it because in that time we didn't have the internet the way we do it have it right now, you know. But I'm a way better, honestly, not being arrogant, but I'm a way better kickboxer than I ever be an MMA fighter. So I defeated everybody, and not a lot of people wanted to fight me at that time. So they offered me, and that's how I got into MMA. They offered me an MMA fight. And I remember, and the promoter told me, no, she has the same experience, you know, not very good, and she's also a beginning MMA fighter. And I always thought for a woman to fight in a cage is the ultimate thing to do. So I'm like, I just want to try that once, you know. And, well, that didn't go to follow plan. I lost my first fight in MMA. She literally snapped my arm in two pieces because I didn't want to tap, because I thought I can get out of it. Now that I know more about MMA, I know if the arm bar is in, you tap. And so people weren't, they weren't used to me losing because I'm undefeated. And then they told me, you shouldn't do MMA. You're not good at that. You cannot do that. You should stick to kickboxing. And I remember when I was a little girl at school, my teacher once said to me, you will never accomplish anything. You can only work with your hands. I wish at this day still that if I could still just have one conversation or just look that teacher in his eyes, just sit on around the table and just look him in the eyes. But hey, I mean, you don't tell a 9-year-old child something like that. But hey, whatever. So people told me, nah, you should not do MMA. You should stick to kickboxing. This is not your thing. You cannot do this. And then that was the moment it snapped. It snapped something in my mind. And I realized nobody is going to tell me I can't. I will tell a person I cannot do this. I hate the word I can't. Even if I cannot do that. Have you tried? Okay. So, and of course, there were moments I doubted. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm made for this. I really don't know. But I still had the mindset, I decide if I can do this or if I can't. So I came back after 9 months of rehabbing my arm, fought one more kickboxing fight, knocked that girl out badly, retired her. So that was a bad knockout. I broke her jaw in 3 different places. Such a sweet girl. Sucked. No, it really sucked because she was such a sweet girl. And the first thing I said to my mom, it still works. It still works. And
with your right arm, that was
yeah, it was my right arm,
and that's your
my punching power. Well, I can. I've knockouts in both. I knock people out with both of my hands, but.
Okay, can I just say I find it super funny that just casually you're just saying, I knocked her out and she just broke her jaw and knockout power. It's fascinating. It's really
No, but I mean, and no disrespect to it. Not like it's an everyday thing, but I like, when I fight, I'm known for. When I used to kickbox, I was known for the pressure I put on people and my knockout power. So
I know it, but that's what's so fascinating. Like now we're just having a normal conversation, and you're really smart. So then we.
That's my alter ego in the cage. I always say that's the Iron Lady that's there, or the ring. Right now I'm Germaine. And a lot of people cannot make the difference between Germaine, and that fighter. But when I step in that ring, even my mom says it, my face changes. I'm a different person. I'm honestly a different person. Because how crazy it sounds, I really hate fighting. Not fighting in there, but I mean fighting just in normal life. And I think I just don't like it. And I don't like when people doing it. And I just hate it. I really do. But I love the violence of the sport. So that's the...
Beautiful violence.
Yeah, the beautiful violence. That's I always say that's my alter ego. I got my multi-personality. That's my other personality, But, and then I packed my stuff. And I said to my mom, I'm going to the United States. And I'm going to show the doubters and also myself I can do it. And it happens every time again and again and again. I'm the underdog, and then I'm, and then this happens or that happens, and I'm just no quitter. That's the only thing I can say and I can make of it. I'm no quitter. And I believe if you put your mind and heart into something, everything is possible.
And just talking about specific situations, what were some situations where you really felt that doubt? So obviously that teacher, which people that have children, you're so easily molded, right? You're young, everything that comes in, you take it times 10. You can't separate good from bad. When you're younger, it's harder. So people really have to watch out with that. I think first of all, when you're around children, watch what you say, because they will stick. I also remember things that were told me when I was 5, and sometimes you still, those thoughts come back. So that's one thing that people can take away. But yeah, what I'm interested about is specific situations where you felt that badly, where you were now because you're super confident. But I'm wondering, were there some moments where you felt like you were almost broken, if I may say?
Broken but not defeated, maybe. I think that broken, I don't know. I think let me think.
Or just hard situations.
When you get death threats after you win a fight and people don't. When I fought Holly, I beat Holly and I got death threats. People created pictures on the internet with my gravestone and my name and the day of deceit on it, and people sending me messages. If it's not, it was not like one or two. There's a lot of people that sending me messages like you're worthless. You should kill yourself. I wasn't defeated, but it did came in. It did hit home. I mean,
A lot of impacts.
and honestly, I turned it into something very positive. But those were moments I thought, do I seriously want to continue doing this? Because I just want to share my love of fighting with other people. And if people think that they can do this or say this to me, even though I'm not a judge, I didn't make the call that I was the winner of that belt. You cannot blame me, but you all blaming me because I hit after the bell. So those were moments. That hit home. That I started thinking, do I still want to do that? And my first loss, I will never forget that. That was the most painful thing I've experienced, I think, in my fighting career. Now I'm thinking about it. Why was it the most painful? Not the loss was painful. The way people treated me after I lost. That was painful. When you win, you got friends. When you lose, you don't got a lot of friends. And that's when I found out, wow, I just lost for the first time. And now you don't think I'm cool anymore? People started treating me different, started not talking to me anymore because I lost. Not the loss that hurt, but the way people treated me. That one hurt. That one really hit home. And that's like I said, that. And then they also said to me, you should stick to kickboxing. That was the trigger in my mind that I'm like, no, I don't let anybody get to me this way, And there were moments I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore, of course. I mean, because I lost the fight, I'm not worth shit anymore. And then sometimes you forget all the people that still care about you, But I didn't expect people to be so hard after a loss. It's just a loss. I mean, you still get out there, and that's why I always tell children and people that step in the ring, you're already a winner for making that walk and doing it. Because there's so many people in the stands that will tell you how to do it and how, but they're the ones sitting there with, a cigarette and a glass of beer. And you're the one doing it. Don't let their judgment change who you are or change your goal or your dream. Don't let them do that to you. So that was the most painful one. That was, absolutely the most painful one ever, I have to say. But of course, when people start death threatening you, I wasn't depressed or anything about it, but it was like, why do I want to do this? Why? I just want to share my love for fighting with other people that have the same love for fighting as I do. And you guys think that this is okay to talk to somebody? And then I started realizing that I could use my platform and I could use that to tell people it's not okay. Internet bullying or bullying in general is not okay. Because if you take the time out of your day, which is precious time. I mean, every day you cannot take every day for granted. So if you take the precious time out of your day to send me a hate message, first of all, you need to talk to a therapist for sure. Second of all, if you do that to me, you can also do that to a 14 or 15-year-old girl or boy behind your computer. Because you think behind your computer you can tell people everything you want to tell them. No, that's not the way life goes. And that's not the way it is. Because that 14-year-old girl or 15-year-old boy or whatever might be in a situation in life that they think, I'm worthless. I should step out of life. I should take my own life. I mean, how many times do we hear people get bullied and children commit suicide at such a young age. This is not okay. So I wanted to use my platform and turn something negative into something positive. And with that being said, I also got from a bunch of people that sent me a very hateful message. Later on, they sent me a very respectful message and apologizing for the things they said to me. So we cannot always look at the bad things only, you know. We also have to enlighten the positive things. And that's also what happened. You know, they apologized. They seriously apologized. And there were people I honestly told them, because you hit a point, you'd be like, screw you. This is enough. You cannot talk to me like this, you know. And I told some people, thank you for your message out of your precious day that you took the time to send me this message. And I hope one day when you meet me in the street, you will tell this to my face, because I know that ain't gonna happen. Because if you're the man behind your computer that thinks you can write or woman can write anything you think you can say to a person without even knowing what you can do to a person with those kind of words, I hope you have the balls to tell that person straight in their face when you meet them in the street. Because you and I both know that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. Because they're safe behind their computers. And it's just not okay. Bullying is not okay. And that's the thing with reporters, I always say too. You know, that's why sometimes there was a period I didn't do a lot of interviews. That was on purpose, because I believe reporters, a lot of people behind the internet, they read a story, and of course I know a reporter needs the item to be hyped. You need to write that item, right? So they write a lot of bullshit in those items or negative shit. But those words have impact on those people that sit behind a computer all day only reading that. They make a judgment out of that. And then they be like, oh yeah, I hate that person too. Yeah. So I think reporters should know how much impact their words they put on paper or on the internet have on some people. Right? And that's why I was at a point in that time, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to that reporter, because you write so much bullshit and you have no idea how many people take your words very valuable and start hating on people. Realize what your words can do to somebody. You have to think about it, because you don't want a person to send some of the messages that I got to your children. Trust me, you don't want that. You really don't want that.
You think social media is dangerous?
Absolutely, 100%. It's all people. You know, the thing is, it's all a filter, how great things should be. But it's not always realistic, you know. People post things and, like I said, and people write things as anonymous. You don't always know the true person behind it. The people can use pictures. They can alter pictures. Yeah, I believe it's absolutely dangerous. How many times do you see networks of people, adults that talk to small children? No, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. You know, and it's not always reality. It's not always reality.
I think what you say is really valuable, that people don't really, like, when they're behind the screen. I think it was a quote of Mike Tyson, right? People got too comfortable talking shit without getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
That's so true. And other than that, it's just people don't realize how much impact they have. And especially when you're younger, like I think you can kind of transmute the energy, because you've been there, you know, like you're used to it. But there are some, and even then it's hard. But there are some people where it's just so hard, like when you're younger, or when you're already in a position where you are having some doubts, and you get a message like that. That can be like the drop that makes the hammer overflow.
Absolutely, which is absolutely reasonable. And you mean you're young, you look at life differently. When I look back right now, and sometimes when I'm at my work, you know, I'm talking to the youth, and I'm like, you should not do that. And then I'm thinking, I can tell you this, but you're gonna think you can face the whole world and nothing can happen to you. Because when I was your age, I thought the same thing. So what I'm saying is, I'm an old woman, and it just, you know, I look at it differently. And I used to be you, but I know it's not coming in. I know it, you know. So yeah, yeah, I believe it's different. But I also believe at the same time, social media can also be a platform, just like you are doing right now with your podcast, is positive reinforcement. You know, bringing a message, a positive message. So it can also do something positive. And I believe that people using social media as an outlet, you know, to share things with people, try to enlighten it a little bit more positive. Also, you know, tell people a little bit more to respect each other, to care for each other. You know, no matter where you're from, where you're raised, born, which color you have, who you love, or whatever, or whatever you believe in. You know, use your platform a little bit more positive.
Yeah, yeah, good advice for everyone that everyone can implement.
Yeah.
Can directly start doing that. Yeah, yeah, just like a lot of time to reflect to this because it's really important. I think people don't realize. Also, people with very big platforms, like I think, oh, like you could do something so great.
Absolutely.
And some people then like I don't want to judge.
No.
But like I judge. Like then I'm like,
We all
oh
judge.
yeah, we all judge. But I'm like, oh, like we could do that so much better. You could highlight. You have access to everyone and everything. Do something with it.
Instead of showing your 7 Ferraris, how cool! But not everybody can have 7 Ferraris. Nice, you have 7 Ferraris, but you can also show that you go to a village and help people build a water fountain or whatever.
Yeah,
You know, do something positive.
And the funniest thing is, even for those people, I'm sure that will bring them the most fulfillment.
Yes.
Like getting the car is nice. You'll get the keys, you're happy, you can make the photo on Instagram. And then you still drive home and you go home to your same house, everything. But if you actually help people, like the feeling you get is just beautiful.
And there was one time I saw a documentary about an Australian guy. He was a multi-millionaire. And the guy had everything he had in the world. But then he was young, I think 29. Then he got sick. He got cancer. And you know what he said? I have everything in the world, but I cannot buy my health. Amen to that. And then he started realizing I have to do something back for the people in the world. You know, I want to give something back. And then instead of, because he had to accept that he was going to die very young, you know, and then he started giving back. And then he found so much fulfillment in life. And he died so peacefully because he knew he left something when he left this earth, you know. And I think, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful, and you're a good example, right? Like even your job is dedicated to helping people, and even your jobs they did before that were focused on that. But then what I ask myself is, that all makes sense, but then when you're also a fighter, what was the reason that you started fighting?
I used to play soccer, very high level. I was in the selection of the Dutch team of the Netherlands.
Okay.
And one day I woke up and I'm like, you know, I'm done with playing soccer.
Like that.
Just like that. And then my mom said, okay. And a friend of mine said, hey, I'm doing kickboxing. You want to come and train with me one day? And I'm like, yeah, cool. Let's try it. Why not? And I never stopped. I never started kickboxing. I felt it was love at first sight. Absolutely. And I never started kickboxing with the intention, I want to become the best in the world. I want to become a world champion. I started kickboxing because I fell in love with the sport. And that's what I still have. I don't fight for money. If I fight for money, I should have stopped a long, long time ago. A long, long time ago. But I don't fight for money. I don't fight for fame. I fight because I genuinely love it. I love it. I love to be in the gym. It's like my holy sanctuary. This is my happy place. I could sleep here. I could, you know. Yeah, this is my holy. I really love fighting. I love training. I really love it. That's why. And it, like I said, it was love at first sight. But not with the intention to become a UFC fighter or become multiple world champion kickboxing. Absolutely not. Just love at first sight.
I think that's also a secret, right? You really found something you loved, and that's why you excel at it.
Yes. Yes. Because I believe, of course, you need to, maybe I have a little bit of talent in fighting, but it also was a lot of hard work. Because I always believed that I have to run and punch and kick just more than my opponents. Just be one step ahead of them. Just be one step better, one step faster. Always. It was always hard work. Always.
Did you have to sacrifice a lot to get to this point?
What's the sacrifice? Then you ask yourself, what's the sacrifice if you do what you love to do? There comes the question. I don't know, what's the sacrifice? There's a few things I've missed in life. I've never been to a wedding. I've never been to a baby shower in my life. Never. Never. I don't even know how a wedding goes. No, I've never been. I've lost a lot of people I thought were my friends. Absolutely. So friendships I lost.
What was the reason for that, if I may ask?
That's a good question. I think, in a way, I didn't come up to their expectations as a friend because I had a different life. I make different choices as they do. And everybody wants to be your friend as long as you're winning and being popular, you know. And even if I can see it now, I haven't fought in a little while, and you know, you used to get a lot of when I'm very active in fighting, I get text messages all day, every day. You know, everybody texts me, "Hey, how you doing?" and this and that. And now there's only a few people I can count on. I can count on one hand. Absolutely. But as soon as I'm having a fight schedule, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I missed a few things in life. But did I really miss them? I don't know. I have experiences. So when I have a child myself, I can tell my children things that not a lot of people can tell. When they have a sleepover, I can tell them things that not every mommy can tell them. So what's the sacrifice? You ask yourself, what's the sacrifice if you do what you love to do?
You've mentioned a few times that you would love to have children. Could you share a bedtime story that you would tell one of your children? Imagine like your child, like long day at school, he or she is tired and he feels like he's a bit like down, and then you're like, "Hey, let me tell you this," and then he falls asleep. What would be the story?
A bedtime story. It will probably be one of these kind of stories, you know. If they have the right age, let me tell you that. If they have the right age, it will be like, you know, one day, Mommy went to the United States, and we got on a plane, and the plane took like 12 hours to get where we had to go, and we got out of the plane. It was very hot, but we came from Holland. Here, it was very cold, and when we came, it was very, very hot. And Mommy still had to cut a lot of weight. You know, Mommy was a little bit chubby. She liked too much to go to McDonald's. And but Mommy went and cut a lot of weight. She was there with her coaches, and we started training. And then the day of the fight came. So Mommy wasn't very popular in a sense. The girl Mommy was fighting, she was fighting the hometown girl. So it was time for Mommy to walk out. And when Mommy walked out, everybody was booing. Boo, boo. But Mommy kept laughing and kept smiling because she enjoyed the ride she was going to make. And as soon as I stepped in there, in that octagon, that cage, when the door locked, I could hear everything, all the sounds in the building. It was a sold-out arena, thousands of people. And I had only one focus. Mommy was looking at her opponent. And I could hear the drop of the pin that closes the cage door. And then Mommy and her opponent had to both walk up to the referee, and he gave us the last directions of the fight. We shook hands and we stepped back. I moved. When the referee said fight, Mommy started moving and moving and moving. Bang! One hit. Knockout. 16 seconds. Fastest knockout of Mommy's career. Time to go to bed, baby. I love you. Good night. Night, night. Sleep tight.
You'll be really cool, Mom.
That's a bedtime story.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll sleep great after that.
Exactly. Having social media, eventually when they have the right age and the right understanding of things in life, I can even show them.
Would you put your children in any type of sports, that being martial arts or football or anything?
100%. I think children should be more active these days. Absolutely. Have a hobby. Go do something. Don't sit at home on your phone or iPad all day. I'm allergic to those things. I'm seriously allergic to it. Go outside. Go play. Go do sports. Be social. Be active. I truly hope they don't want to fight. I truly hope. But I will never fight against it. Because if that's their dream, I will support every dream they have. But if it was my dream, I would say just go play tennis or soccer or something. Just don't fight. Don't do it.
But wouldn't you secretly find it exciting if your child would? No.
No. You know why? Because I would expect too much. I'm being very honest. Because I would tell them it takes a lot to become the best in the world. Are you ready to give it all in to become that best? Because you gotta wake up Sunday morning early and start running. Even if it's cold outside, it's raining, it's freezing. You gotta get out of your bed and start running. You gotta do it 1,000,000 times. Jab, cross, hook. Are you ready to give up that sacrifice? Are you ready to do that? Are you willing to do that? When all of your friends ask you on a Saturday night, hey, you want to go out for a drink? Are you willing to tell them, I am not coming? Are you ready? Because they will tell you, we're not going to invite you anymore. They're not going to like you because you're not coming. Because you always say no. Are you ready to do that? Are you willing to give up that, all of that? Because if you are, you can just go for it. But fighting is different. Because it's you. You got to take the punches. You got to take the punishment. Nobody else. Your coach is going to help you, guide you through. But they don't feel the hits you're getting. You're going to take them. So you better give up everything. Everything. To be prepared. As well as you can be. The choice is yours.
Fighting is one of the most lonely sports, right? Because like a lot of sports, we have football, even tennis. I mean, you're there on your own, but it's different. What does like besides that it's such a lonely sport? Is there something else that makes fighting so special for you?
It's a lonely existence as a fighter. Freddie Rauch once said it in a beautiful interview in a documentary. As a fighter, you have a lonely existence because it is. At moments, you are lonely and you feel lonely no matter what. You know, I think the adrenaline, the rush that goes through your veins, that is. I cannot describe that feeling. It's like as soon as they put on those gloves and they lace them up, or those MMA gloves, it's like you feel all the blood rushing through every vein of your body. It's like, you got to see it like this. I always say it like this. It's like, this is what people that use heroin always have said. That first shot of heroin, the first time, is the best high. And they chase every time after that first high. But fighting, every time you get that high, that first high of heroin, it's like you're being scared, but you're ready. It's just, it's a roller coaster. It's like you're stepping in the most dangerous roller coaster in the world. And it's so scary, but you're still gonna step into it. Everything you feel, you hear. It's like being in the Matrix. It's like you're so. Yeah, it's like the being in the Matrix. That's the best way to describe it. Hearing, you can hear a pin drop, while thousands of people scream and make noise. You can hear that pin drop on the ground. You can eliminate every sound, every feeling, every touch. It's like when somebody touches you, your hair comes up, you feel everything. That rush, it's that rush. It's wow.
Do you get like a little hint of that rush when, for example, you watch the Usman Leon Edwards fights? When you watch fights in general,
No, not every fight. When I hear my walkout song, I
okay,
feel it. It's like, or
that's the
when
trigger.
when I hear my walkout song, it's like I feel my heart start racing immediately. Or when I have to watch myself back, I don't do that because I really don't like that. But I literally feel everything at that moment in time, what I felt in that moment in time. My heart starts racing like a maniac, like sweaty palms I get. I feel everything. I'm like, it's like if somebody grabs me at the throat, and I'm like, I'm stuck. My breath, my breath. That's how it feels. Fucking bizarre, seriously. But like, it's a feeling I wish I can describe, but there will never be a right way to describe what really, really goes through my mind. And what I really, really feel. It's that intense that it's impossible to exactly describe. You you can imagine it, but you will never be able to really feel what goes through it. It's bizarre.
Do you have an urge right now to go back into the ring? Do you miss it?
Yeah, of course I miss it. Yeah, of course I miss it. But I'm in a stage of my life right now, which I'm going to come back. I'm definitely 2023. I will step back in the octagon again. Absolutely, that's definitely going to happen. But right now I'm busy with other things, and soon I'll make an announcement of it. That are so beautiful that I'm happy and blessed in the situation where I am right now. But I can say 2023 I'll be back.
No, first say I'm really happy for you that you have things on the side that are going well and that are coming. I'm so happy to hear that for you, and also obviously super excited for you to come back to the octagon and show us the Iron Lady, the alter ego.
Yes. Definitely the alter ego. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to ask you, like you mentioned briefly, when you're in the locker room, you have a quick talk to your coach, and maybe some doubts kicked in, or something else happens. Could you describe your pre-fights with the locker, like your locker room, your workouts, and then also after? How do you feel? Or what goes through your mind? Like
The after is different of the result, of course.
Yeah.
But
in both situations, then.
in the locker room, I get sometimes quiet. Sometimes I get a little bit quiet. I listen to music.
What kind of music? Is it Lange
Most of
Frans,
the-
or is it like nature?
No, Lange Frans. No, it's like more of a motivational speaker.
Okay.
Yeah, I listen to a motivational speaker because they have some of them have a very powerful voice, like it hits you right away.
Is there one that you like in particular?
I like Billy Alsbrooks. I really enjoy his motivational speeches. So I listen to those, and I always like to if we talk, and I like to just have fun conversations, not about the fight. You know, I don't like warming up. I really hate warming up. I really have to do it. Yeah, I don't like it. But yeah, basically, I make a prayer, and I don't pray for a win. I just pray to get out of there healthy, and my opponent too. I don't want to hurt anybody permanent. So that's the only. And I always do a prayer with the picture of my grandma, who's not here anymore. So if you see me walk out, you always see me pointing at the sky. I always do that. Even when I'm in weigh-ins, I always point at the sky and I look up. And I always say, Oma, please, grandma, shine your light on me. I always do that because I know she will be there watching over me. She's my guardian angel. I know for sure. And then then already the lights are on and the music started, and then there is that switch in my mind. That's the moment I point, shine your light, and that's the switch. It's do or die. That's it. And then if I win, I'm happy, peppy. And if I lose, I cry. That's it. You know, it sucks. Losing sucks. I don't like losing. No matter what I do, I just don't like losing. But I cry not because of the loss, but because in a way I'm disappointed in myself, because I knew sometimes, most of the times, you know, you could have done differently, you know. But at the same time, you know, at the same time, I win and I cry sometimes because I overcome obstacles. I overcome and I did it, you know, and I made it again because people doubted me so much in MMA. If it were kickboxing, nobody would have doubted me, you know. But in MMA, they all doubt me, you know, and sometimes, you know, I'm a very proud person, you know, so I feel until a couple of days ago, I was the only Dutch fighter left in the UFC. So I carried the pride of a whole nation. I felt now I get to share that pressure. But yeah, so tears of joy and tears of disappointment sometimes. But still, when I get to the hotel, I'm always say to myself, okay, now is not the time to cry anymore, you know. You're going to watch this back. Win or lose, you're going to watch this back. And now you're going to be proud of yourself because you did it. And then we move on. I used to maybe sit down and soak in tears for a week, 2 weeks. Not anymore. Because I enjoy the journey so much. And I cannot control the outcome. I did everything I could. And of course I make mistakes and I could have done different things differently. Especially when I look back at my fight with Amanda Nunes, you know, when I fought for the belt and I lost the fight. I was a kickboxer. I was not an MMA fighter, and that's why I lost the fight. You know, I let my emotions get the best of me. I just wanted her to stand and bang with me. But she would be an idiot because she would have lost her belt if she would stand and bang with me. So I was disappointed in myself for not sticking to the plan that I knew what I had to do. And I knew what she was going to do. But still, I wanted to bang it out because I knew if I hit her once, I was going to put her lights out. But, you know, you cry a couple times and you move on because you still did it. And I enjoyed the journey and the amazing people I got to meet and the amazing things I get to do, which not everybody can do.
You mentioned your grandma briefly. If you feel comfortable speaking about it, could you describe the bond you had with her? Because it's really special to hear that things like a wait-in or when you're walking in, you relate that back to her, or you have that connotation with your grandma. That's really special. Could you tell us something about that?
She was always proud of me, my brother, always proud of me and my brother, no matter what, you know. And then she also always, like, you know, she always believed in me. And I honestly believe if she was still here today, she would sit front row, be so proud. She would be so proud, front row seat. Absolutely, absolutely. So I honestly believe she's my guardian angel, you know. And I never ask for God or whatever, you know, to bring me the victory. I just ask for protection, to get out safely, and my opponent too. Because this sport can do a lot of damage, and it can hurt you permanently. And that's not what I want, for nobody. So, yeah. So it's more like, I know you're watching, and now you got to protect me, you know. And I also ask her to protect my mom because she gets so nervous. So watch over my mom.
It's beautiful. You also have some really intriguing tattoos, if I may say.
Thank you.
Could you tell us something about those?
But this is a warrior. The warrior stands, of course. This is the only one that basically stands for me, you know, never giving up, you know, you keep fighting. And a hunter. When I fight, I'm honestly a hunter.
Is he holding a bow and arrow?
Yeah, that's a bow and arrow, yeah. I'm a hunter. I hunt for the knockout. I hunt for that one spot, that one moment you leave your guard open. If I get through, I'll knock you out, for sure. The other one is my mom, because she's absolutely my hero. And a lot of people do a portrait of a person when the person is deceased. And I want her to see it. And this is the Holy Virgin watching over two ladies, a little girl and a woman, that are surrounded by angel wings. Yeah, that basically is my mother and me, you know, that the Holy Virgin watches over us. My grandma, they always call Candy Grandma, so it's Candy and Grandma.
Why did they call her Candy Grandma?
What?
Why did they call her Candy Grandma?
Because she always gives the children in the neighborhood candy. Always. So every child in the neighborhood always came to my grandma for the candy. You know, if you didn't get it by your mom, you just went to my grandma. And then the lyrics in the on the side of the arm, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. On my upper leg, I got the crown of the Netherlands and the quote, "Die with memories, not dreams." And underneath that, the date of my most beautiful fight in my entire fighting career.
Could you tell us something about that moment, that special date?
That was Rotterdam, on Mother's Day. My mother has seen every kickboxing fight I fought, but she has only seen one MMA fight live, and that was on Mother's Day, so she had no other choice in the Netherlands than to see me fight MMA, because she just doesn't like it when people do the ground and pound, which I understand. I mean, nobody wants to see somebody sit on top of your daughter and punching them in the face. It was the first UFC event ever in the Netherlands, and we Dutch have a very harsh audience, very harsh. We are very spoiled here because we have the best kickboxers in the world, so we have the best fights in the world, no matter what. So, and I was the first Dutch one to walk to the octagon. Yeah. I thought I was going to shit my pants before I was about to walk out, seriously. And I walked out with a Dutch song, a very typical Dutch song. And when the song started, I saw everybody, first of all, look like, what the heck? What kind of stupid song is she walking out to, seriously? Like, what the heck is she doing? And I remembered the UFC crew be like, you gotta walk, you gotta walk, you gotta walk. And I was like, screw you. This is my moment. I absorb every second of it. Honestly, if you have put Mike Tyson in front of me, I would have knocked him out too. Honestly, seriously. It was like the audience lifted me off the ground and gave me wings. It was unfreaking real. Everybody started screaming, Holland, Holland. And I'm like, wow, I've never heard anything in my life like this. Goosebumps. I got so many messages from people being home having goosebumps when I started walking out, because I really took my time. The other two Dutch fighters, Stefan and Alistair, they ran towards the cage. And well, not me. I was like, I take this, I soak every energy I need, I soak it in. I need this energy from the other people surrounding me. And yeah, when I stepped in the cage, nothing was gonna beat me. Nothing and nobody. Honestly, not. And then I got to finish. So, yeah, it was the way the audience, I never got so much respect in my entire career from the audience as that day. Never, ever, ever felt so much positive energy from the audience ever in my entire career. So that made it the most beautiful fight of my career.
It's fascinating how much impact the circumstances have, right? Because like a fight is a fight, but it's not. It's different, right?
Yeah.
Like each different place, different opponents. Does fighting in Holland feel different?
Oh, a lot. There's a lot more pressure. A lot more pressure. But one way or another, like that's the weird thing about me. Like I always said, I'm a little crazy in my head, because under pressure, I fight the best fights. And there's a lot of pressure when you fight here. Hell yeah, you don't, in every country in the world, not in your home country, you want to lose a fight. You just don't want to lose a fight in your home country.
Obviously.
You know? And yeah, so yeah, that was magical. That was so much pressure, so much. And especially the first UFC event ever, and being the first Dutch to walk out, yeah, that was wow. That was wow. And my mother in the building, like my hero was in the building. Yeah, that made it a perfect day. A perfect day.
What did you do after you win?
I cried, of course. Hell yeah. The first thing, I grabbed my mom. And so we hugged. And then after the fight, I got the bonus. Alice and Stefan also got the bonus. And then we went to the hotel to pick up my stuff. And then all my friends were there. So we had a drink all together. And then we drove to the McDonald's. And then we drove home.
Beautiful.
I slept like an angel that night. Normally I sleep 2 hours. Now I think I slept maybe 3 or 4 hours. But I woke up like being immortal. Absolutely. Being immortal when I woke up. It's like still living in a dream.
I don't want to break the mood because this is such a perfect like how it can go. But after a loss, what happens after that? Because I like for example, I heard a fighter from Glory, I don't remember his name. He said, "Yeah, he's like, when I win, my phone gets blown up right after. I have to spend 2 days replying to everyone.
Hell yeah.
When I lose, there's 6 people.
Yeah,
There's
true.
maybe my mom, my dad, and some of my friends.
Yeah, true.
And then there's no one else that messages me.
That's true. That's the absolute truth. Like I said, and I like I said earlier too, it's even now, you know, I'm not active right now because I understand. Like I said, soon I will make a statement and then people will know more about it. But even right now, you know, when I'm not that active, my phone is not going off 100 times an hour. But when I'm active and I'm fighting, you know, I got friends all over the world. You know, my phone goes off all day, every day. They need something from me then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They need me to be their friend or someone they know. Right now, no. Somebody asked me the other day, I had an interview and somebody asked me the other day and they said, so we talked about retirement, you know, and he said, well, how do you think it's going to feel? I said, well, I think it's going to feel like the way it feels right now. Like you vanish, you know? And some, of course, still a lot of people. And it's funny because recently a lot of people be like, hey, when are you fighting again? Hey, when are you fighting again, you know? And you always got a bunch of people that still be, I love to see, I want to see you fight, you know? I still hope to see you fight. But the people that really know you, that have your personal phone number, they're only going to text me when I have a fight again. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. When you lose, yeah. People don't like losers. That's why I'm very selective with the people I let come very close to me. Because I've seen a lot of people I never expected to do that, did it. Or because I didn't go out with them anymore or spend less time with them, you know, moved on with their lives. And everybody moves on with their lives. But I thought we had a true friendship, which was based on the Iron Lady, not on me.
Powerful. To end the podcast with one last question that I always ask my guests, it will be, what does success mean to you?
Success means to me doing what you love to do. And you don't always have to be successful in doing what you love to do, but just doing what you love to do. Because I think some words in the dictionary you should not pay too much attention to or put too much value because it will take the power off it, you know. You'll be successful if you do whatever you love to do. And even though you might not be the number one at it, you still do what you love to do, you are successful. Because at the end of the day, that's what makes you happy. And that's the most important thing. Do what makes you happy. Then you're successful.
Very clear message. Thank you, Germaine, for
welcome.
today. And thank you for all the valuable advice. I myself find it really useful. I'm sure a lot of people are watching this and if they can take just one sentence that was said during this podcast and they can take action with it, that's the goal that we have. And thank you for watching and thank you, Germaine.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! You should be a monster, and then you should learn how to